We're going to cover Chapter 4, Section 3 today. And this is not a real long section. The title of this section is Citizens, Duties, and Responsibilities.
I wanted to thank you for the beautiful drawing you did. It's hanging in my bedroom.
Really? Took me like 3 hours to finish the shading on your upper lip. It's probably the best drawing I've ever done.
Yeah, it's really nice. What are you drawing?
A liger.
What's a liger?
It's pretty much my favorite animal. It's like a lion and a tiger mixed. Bred for its skills and magic.
Who was that?
Trisha,
Who's she?
my woman I'm taking to the dance.
You draw her a picture?
Heck yes, I did.
Our objectives for Section 3 are: what are the duties of citizenship? Where are the duties of citizenship described? And what are the responsibilities of citizenship?
What is the difference between a civic duty and a responsibility? Well, a duty is something that you have to do, while a responsibility is something that you should do. Let's explore this concept a little deeper. First, let's look at civic duties, the things that you have to do. In most states, you are required to attend school until the age of 16. In Michigan, for example, you have to attend school until the age of 18. Attending school benefits both you and your community, because the more you learn and the more skills you learn, the better citizen that you can be. The second duty as a citizen of the United States is to defend the nation. Under law, men between the ages of 18 and 25 are required by law to register for a military draft. The draft is only used in extreme circumstances, and it hasn't been used since the Vietnam War. You still, however, are allowed to join any of the branches of the military, including the U.S. Coast Guard, on a volunteer basis. The third duty as a citizen of the United States is to obey the laws. This is by far and away the most important duty as a citizen of the United States. Laws are made to maintain order and keep the public safe. The fourth duty as a citizen is to pay taxes. Taxes provide the government money to provide programs. Without this money, services such as roads and the military could not exist. The last duty as a citizen of the United States is to serve in court. Because the U.S. Constitution allows trials, all citizens must be ready to serve on a jury. The other aspect is that you might be called to be a witness in some trial or case at any time. Okay, let's review. So we just covered duties. Those are things that you have to do. Now we're going to focus on the responsibilities. These are the things that you should do, but you're not required to do. Civic responsibilities are volunteer responsibilities, and no one can force you to do them. The first responsibility is to be informed and to vote. This can be as simple as reading the newspaper or talking to a friend. However, it is your responsibility to know what's going on, such as when a road might be closed, and if you have a disagreement with it, you need to discuss this with your local government. Your opinion matters, so it's also really important to vote. The second responsibility is to participate in your community. This can be anything from just helping out your neighbors or cleaning up a park. When more people actively participate in the community becomes a better place for all to live. Another way that you can support your community is through the local government. This can take many avenues, such as participating as an elected official or attending meetings. Oftentimes, these local governments have committees that you can serve on a voluntary basis. This is how you can make direct change in your local community. The third responsibility as a citizen is to respect the rights and property of others. Let's face it, we're not always going to get along, but we must respect and accept each other's beliefs and differences. The last responsibility is to respect different opinions and ways of life. Some people believe it's okay to have abortions, while others are strongly against it. Whether you're against or for abortion, it doesn't matter. You still need to be respectful of each other's opinions. So let's review. A duty is something you have to do, while a responsibility is something that you should do. The 5 main duties are to attend school, defend the nation, obey the laws, pay taxes, and serve in court. While the responsibilities are to be informed and to vote, participate in your community, respect the rights and property of others, and respect the different opinions and ways of life.
When a young man turns 18, he is required by law to register with the Selective Service System. This applies to almost all males, whether they are citizens or not. If a male immigrant takes up residency in the U.S. after his 18th birthday, but before his 26th birthday, then he also must register. Those who register stay eligible for college loans and grants, federal jobs, many state and municipal jobs, government job training programs, and a driver's license in most states. In addition, for immigrants, selective service registration is required for U.S. citizenship. Federal penalties for not registering can be severe. Penalties include a fine of up to $250,000 or a prison term of up to 5 years or both. Even if not tried, a man who fails to register may find that some opportunities are permanently lost. Men can register online at www.sss.gov. If they don't have a social security number, they can go to the post office to pick up a registration form. Registration is quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
LaFonda is the best thing.
So, your 5 duties of citizenship. Again, duties, these are things you must do. If you do not, there are consequences. Obviously, if you don't obey the law, consequences can range quite dramatically. It might be something as simple as a fine. It could be jail time. It could be both. You must attend school. The more knowledge you can have, the better equipped you are going to be when it's time to get out there in the real world. The more productive you're going to be. You're going to have so many more job opportunities for yourself. So by making students be in school until they are at least age 16, at least you're going to develop the basic tools that you're going to need. But I said basic, and in today's society, really, not having a high school education, you're limiting yourself so severely as to what you're really going to be able to do later on in life. And if you want to drop out of school when you're 16, you still have to have parental consent. So if your parents say no, you still have to go. You have to pay taxes. Your folks are working, they're paying taxes on the money that they earn. The federal government's going to take a portion of the money you earn. In some states, they're going to do the same thing. Now, not every state does this. Some states are fortunate enough that they don't have to tax the income of the people that live there. But the federal government is going to. And just like it said in the video, in order to have a lot of the services that we do in our country, we have to have tax dollars to provide those. You must serve in the armed forces. Now, this is maybe should be worded a little bit differently because you don't actually have to go into the military. There were some countries where if you were a male, you were required by law to serve at least 2 years in the military. Here in the United States, when you turn 18 years of age, you must simply join or register with the Selective Service. All this does is it means from the age of 18 till the age of 26, you are eligible to become drafted into the military if our government would see fit. The United States, we have such a large standing military. And on top of that, we have so many men and women that serve in a reserve role that to have a draft would is extremely unlikely. We would have to be wrapped up in a major world conflict that would have to last for a significant number of years to get to the point where we would need to have a draft. And then finally, appear in court. What does this mean by appearing in court? One of two things. It means that you might have to be called to serve on a jury. Now, there are two different ways that this happens because the courts need to be able to have a long list of individuals. There used to just be one way, and that is looking at a list of eligible voters. Problem is, not everyone in the United States registers to vote. You should, but not everyone does. And so many people were getting called time and time again to have to go serve on a jury. So they said, we need to be able to expand upon the people that we can possibly be bringing in. So they said, well, what's something else that we can do? Something that a large number of people in this country do. And some of them do this, but they don't register to vote, and that is get a driver's license. So courthouses are going to look at who's registered to vote, and they're going to look at who has a driver's license, and they're going to take names from those lists, and from there, they're going to randomly choose someone to possibly serve on a jury. Also, maybe there is an accident between two people, and you witnessed it, and the police stopped and got a statement from you. Next thing you know, turns out someone violated a traffic law. Now the other person is suing them for damage done to their car, maybe even for medical bills. Now they're going to have a trial, and you have to go to court because you have to testify. And you have to go to court. You can't just say, no, I don't want to get involved. I'm going to stay out of this. You have to go. Then we're going to look at the 5 responsibilities of citizenship. 1, voting. And the difference between responsibilities and duties. Duties are things you must do. Responsibilities are things you should do. You should vote. You should have a say in who your leaders are going to be. It never fails. Every time there's an election of one sort or another, whether it's a federal election, state election, local election, people complain about, oh man, I didn't want that person to win. And so you ask them, well, did you vote for the other person? Well, no, I didn't vote. Well, then if you didn't vote at all, then you have absolutely no right to complain. So you just need to sit there, be quiet, and take the results as they happen. If you're going to vote, you got to be informed. You've got to know, what do these people stand for that you're voting for? You find out that you voted for someone, and then they get elected, and then you hear about everything that they're doing, and you're like, well, I didn't know they were going to do that. Well, did you take the time to learn about them, whether it be the newspaper, the internet, wherever it may be, talking to someone else? Take part in your government. If you're not happy with what's going on in your community, you can run for something like the city council. You can run for mayor. You don't have to have government experience. Does it help? Yes, it does, but everybody has to start someplace. Start at the very bottom and work your way up. But complaining just isn't going to get things done. You actually need to take part in one way or another. Help in your community. And this can be something as simple as you're walking down the street, you see some trash, you pick it up, you throw it away. Maybe there's a community cleanup, taking part in it. And then finally, respecting and protecting other people's rights. You see someone that's doing something to a neighbor's property, you know they shouldn't be doing it. Say something. Be respectful about it, but say something to the person. If they don't stop, get a description of them. Call law enforcement. If they drive away, get their license plate number. Everyone has a cell phone today. Record what it is that they're doing. Help your neighbors out. Help people out in general. Pay it forward, so to speak. So these are your notes. There's the duties of citizenship and responsibilities of citizenship.